What is up, everybody? Once again, welcome to another episode of the Banter Zone. I'm here with...
What's happening? It's Harry, and I'm here with...
I'm Simon. And we're back again. Well, we took a week off, but felt like we needed to focus on really one thing only at this point, almost, right?
There is only one thing to focus on these days, and that is the CPL. Honestly...
So you got part of it here, and if you look behind Harry, you see part of it there.
Sorry, I got a big shoulder, big gut, and whatever else there is.
I want to give a big shout out to Anthony Todorov for linking us up and getting us set up with this crispy little scarf here. It's pretty nice, I gotta say.
We're definitely going to have to give this guy a call and be like, send us more swag. So not only we can give away, but we can wear it ourselves.
Exactly.
So,
Straight
yeah.
from the CPL. And you got it. Just sad, sorry. It's nice though. We're starting to collect a little bit more stuff here, and season's about to, everything's like
Everything's
coming.
about to launch,
And
like real quick here.
it's kind of getting crazy a bit. Like, we don't know which direction everything's gonna go, but
We know what's moving forward, right?
yeah.
As long as everybody on the bus is facing forward, we know what direction we're going in.
Yeah, and in that same voice almost, I think we might be heading to the inaugural game. So if everything works out, CFN will be at the inaugural game, and they just announced today that they were talking about opening up the top portion of that stadium because they want to get 30,000 people in the stands.
No way.
Yeah, they said they're pushing to get 30,000 people in the stands. So
Can't wait. I
that
cannot
would be
wait.
an unreal atmosphere. So obviously we want to be there for the inaugural game, and then looks like we're going to be at the inaugural game of Cavalry, their first home game. But we'll touch on that a little bit later.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, I guess we got a little excited there. We don't need to get that far yet, but inaugural game, we're pushing to go. Harry, how's your week? Nice little week vacation off.
Week vacation off in a sense. You know, there's been a lot of birthdays, so shout out to everybody who has had their birthday, I guess, and celebrated with me. And which is coming
Harry
up.
Harry just passed the birthday too, so we'll give you a nice little happy birthday.
It's good, and Simon's birthday's coming up too. So yeah,
Yeah. So really now, I mean, yeah, over the last couple of weeks, there's some things that have happened in Champions League and all that stuff, but the focus has kind of shifted to CPL, and there's a lot of talk going on about that stuff. So
Yeah.
you guys can get that info anywhere, everywhere, and anywhere about the leagues. More, like we said earlier.
just let us do what we do and what we do best, and then we're gonna bring you all the CPL stuff. I know there's been other people out there that have brought you all a lot of CPL information, but there's nobody out there that's brought you the content that we have.
Nobody's got this flavor.
So that's truthful. And that being said, I don't want to get off track here, but thank you for everybody that has subscribed, following us. Continue, please don't stop.
we
We're
couldn't do
almost
this
at that
without-
milestone right now, so
Yeah,
as I
just
said,
about 900,
yeah.
889, I believe. it was,
889,
subscribers
yeah.
on YouTube, and then
So-
the followers keep going up. So obviously, you guys are happy with the content, and everyone's liking it. So let's keep it rolling, and everything's just gonna get better from here on out. Because
I
pretty
feel it.
soon, we're not just gonna keep talking about it. We're gonna be able to show you what the hell's going on in this league, because we haven't been able to yet. But
Let's jump into it. Let's get into it. Let's just
let's
go.
get into it. I mean, really, what happened this week, and if you haven't been paying attention, and if you really kind of been living in the dark about what's going on with the CPL,
Preseason
has
training, training more or less is not completed, but preseason has begun now. And
Yeah, preseason has officially begun, and now it's the players have arrived. The majority of the squads have been finalized, not finalized, but
there's still
they're
spots
very-
to be
there's-
filled. Yes.
Yeah, you'll have a handful of spots to be filled in other places. Like we had looked before, I think it was Valor had a huge roster quite yet, but Pacific still spots to fill.
Yeah.
Harry did some numbers on how many teams or how many
Players,
were-
yeah, depending on where they're from. So,
So,
but yeah, what do we got? We got 7 teams. Technically speaking, there should have been 8. Good job, Ottawa. I guess we'll see them next year, but
enjoy the USL.
you're gonna horribly fail. But good luck.
You're Canadian, so we still wish you the best, but we're still gonna bug you every chance
Yes.
we get, just because of your own decisions.
Yeah, that's true. Cool thing though. So going through some numbers, breaking down some stuff, different players from, say, Canada. So 96 Canadian players have been signed in the CPL as it sits now. Okay. International players, we're looking at 29 international players signed. I love that gap, and I knew that the CPL was always going to be pushing homegrown players, so that's a huge thing. If I've done my math right, that's 125 players signed. And as we know, there are other teams that still need to fill some spots. We understand there have been some big players that are already brought into these teams. I don't want to call them fillers, but technically speaking, they're going to be the guys coming up from your bottom of your squad coming up. But that's a great thing. Think about all the big things that are going to happen to these players and the growth behind these players. They're going to be playing with bigger names, guys that come from the MLS and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in that same voice almost, I mean, those players that, just because you may not be a starter because they're bringing in a little bit higher profile players into the league and you're local and you're going to have to fight for your spot a little harder, but when did you have that chance before? Now. It wasn't there. So, I mean, this is just that boost, man. You can't succeed unless you fail.
That's true.
And now, I mean, you start to see some of the squads rounding up with some players maybe not getting selected, and it's tough, man. It's hard to see, but at the same time, if your career's ahead of you, it's all there is. It's all ahead of you.
That's all there is.
All you can go is up. So we'll go over to, I think we're going to start with
Pacific.
Left Coast.
Let's go to the far left. Far west. Left. Far
The
west.
left. I like to call them the Left Coast.
The left
but
coast.
they're the West Coast.
They're far
Left
west.
Coast.
They're far west. So just to let you know, there are 12 players signed to this team already. 12 of those players are actually all Canadian content. There are 0 internationals at the moment. As I say, at the moment, because we don't know what's going to be happening. I know they're still going through the preseason, so there's going to be other players that are coming through. One big thing, and it's huge for Pacific, and I know we've touched base on this, and I've probably touched base on this with you several times, is they didn't have a goalkeeper that was in place. It's official now. Mike Village, 27-year-old man, I guess you can call him now. He is their full-time goalkeeper. If you don't know him well enough, he hasn't made a lot of appearances in the last 3-4 years. He's made one, but at the same time, you think about all the training that he's gone through. The training that he's gone through with the different teams out there and the different levels, the skill will be coming for him, so he will be on par.
Yeah.
And there's another young keeper with him as well, right? So.
Yeah, and I mean the good thing is with that they signed also just today they announced his name's Issy Nakajima Farn, very highly touted in the world. Like, I'm not too familiar with him, but he's been a bit of a jet setter. He's kind of been in a few places, played in Singapore and Japan. He was born in Calgary actually, but he's 34-year-old. Played in the J2 league. He has kind of been Spain, A-League, Brisbane, Cyprus, MLS. He's been Toronto FC most notably, in Montreal Impact. Quite the artist. And there's a video today in his painting showing how it kind of helped him and influenced him. So it's kind of a cool story. But another big signing for another quality signing. Here's where I'm going to combat you, because here's where you've gone in. Obviously, your prediction on Pacific being one of the stronger squads. They are. I mean, obviously, they're going to be great. They have a lot of big name players. But
For example, can you explain to everybody what position this player plays?
So he's another forward.
Yeah, he's mid, right?
Forward. He's an attacker.
Okay.
So another up front. So these guys are going to be all
Correct.
all forward.
If you think about it and what I've been pushing and what I've been saying lately, and I'm not hating on Pacific for this. Great, you need the goal scorers. You need those guys out there to win you your games. But they win you your games, but your defenders win you your tournaments. I've always believed in that. Maybe it's because I've always played on the back end, and
that's a defensive mentality.
It is,
because
right?
that's the Italian mentality is like that as well. They've won World Cups, so obviously it's not wrong, but boring. it's not as exciting as attacking football, because the English.
I understand, and I understand that everybody, even the CPL, and I understand they're trying to push that. They're trying to get the culture out there. The only way is to create that excitement.
Yeah, but the identity is every team is going to have their own identity, and everything's going to be different. I see some teams like Halifax, when you look at the players they signed, they're probably going to be more of that defensive.
Correct.
So it might not be as exciting to watch, but man, they're not going to let you score on them. Cavalry's going to be a pretty balanced team. I think FC Edmonton will be pretty balanced. I think most of them will.
Yeah, true. But
Pacific is going to be I'm coming.
But see, the biggest thing with Pacific is that I believe they need, I know, I can see the roster, and yes, I do come from a defensive background. But you're looking at one of your big midfielders De Jong, you're going to expect that gentleman to come back every single time and help defend. Can you put a guy in that position like that?
I mean, De Jong, he's played as a fullback as well, so he's been used to the box to box. Is he going to be as fit? I don't think he's going to be a liability, but if he's more of a stay-home player, I don't think they'll play him as a fullback. I can see him more of like a outside D, like somebody who's sitting back. You don't want a guy that, I mean, not to call him old, but in the grand scheme of things, put him up against a 20-year-old. 20-year-old's just going to make him run a lot.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to be vulnerable in the back end. You're right. I think regardless of what they do at this point, because of the signings and the way that the cap is going to roll, and we don't even really know about the cap.
But that's what, and you know what? I think their biggest savior will be Mike Village.
Yeah, I mean, this is your year to shine, brother, because you're going to get shots. Those teams that are going to be...
As we call it here in Canada, okay? If you're playing hockey, as you call it in Canada, every goaltender is calling getting peppered. Because you'll use the puck. I don't know what you want to call it with this, but it's honestly, he will get peppered this whole season.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah,
you're ready for it.
Bang on, yeah. Pacific is they're gonna be a good team, but they're gonna be front loaded, heavy. But
let's move to Calgary, okay?
Let's go to the local boys.
Let's touch base on this. So, if you don't know already, Calgary did win. Well, not Calgary, I guess. Foothills won the PDL last year. What you're going to see in the trend, if you haven't looked at, of course, all the players that have signed and all the players that the Cavs have signed at the moment, a lot of them have come back from the Foothills team last year. Nothing bad about that. You already know there's already chemistry behind it. You know you know what to build on. You know what you need to do to be more successful.
Yeah.
But with that huge success, do you think they're going to be able to pull that off this year?
I think it's going to be a tough task, and it's going to be a hard to decide anybody. I've read a lot over the last couple of weeks. They've been talking about Foothills and that Calgary's virtually a PDL team. But what a lot of people don't know is that PDL team was built with all these players to transition into this a year early. So there was nothing wrong with doing that and having to convince those guys. For Tommy, like, how do you convince Nick Ledgerwood to go from playing at a higher level to PDL level? Like, that's a tough ask, and some of those players as well. But these guys, the chemistry is there, like you said. The quality is great. And these guys are now, I don't know if they're a step ahead chemistry-wise, maybe, because they've just come off of it. But having those additional pieces, you start to see this team really
but the official signings like Marco Carducci, Ledge, we're looking at some big names there. Which is great because I know they're going to be filling the voids for some of the other players that we will mention later on that have moved to different CPL teams.
Yeah. And then you got guys bringing in Oliver Minatel and Jordan Brown, and then there's Julian Busher.
Trafford. Look at Trafford.
Quality. He's going to play. They're not going to be. That's why I find this team's going to be so balanced because they got some solid. I've watched Dom Zator play over the last couple of years, and he doesn't make mistakes. Just because he hasn't played at a pro level, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who you put in front of him. He's got that work rate, and he's hard as nails. And then you get a guy who has that experience, and he's also hard as nails, but he's got 10 years experience on Dom Zator. Now this guy's going to be beside you telling you what to do.
Yeah,
they're going to be solid in the back as well.
There's one player that Calgary has signed recently as well, and I'm going to say it. You watch out for this player. Okay, who he's surrounded with right now are players that are seasoned. They're seasoned vets in a sense. He's surrounded by younger players as well. But Elijah, I think, and I just got goosebumps for saying that because I truly believe that this kid has a lot of potential, and I'm not saying he's gonna carry the team, but he has that vibe. He has that vibe that he gives away and gives off, and I think he's gonna soak in a lot. And he's gonna produce a lot. So
yeah, I mean, he's played that defensive mid role. He's a good transition player. He's level-headed, doesn't make mistakes very often, and now he's just gonna progress. I mean, coming back from the injury, Achilles tendon surgery, complete rupture.
That's another reason why I believe in you because I just went through that too.
Yeah. In Gonzaga, I was lucky enough to travel with Foothills to that trip in 2017. 2017. But yeah, so I mean, a little. Could you think maybe a little biased because we've worked with these guys for the last 3-4 years?
Elijah's
See
never
the
been nice to
quality?
me, so why would I be biased against it?
That's true. Even when you did the God Sally, he was like, "What? You guys butted heads?" And I was like,
Sure.
No, Elijah's quality, super level-headed, and then having all the guys he has around him, forget about it.
And that's what I'm saying is
They're gonna be
I look at the lineup, I see what Tommy's done. I see not only what Tommy's done, but Tommy's team, like the guys behind him, what they've built. But I'll still stand to say what I said before.
Still,
I'm still going to say that you guys are going to have a great season, but I don't think it's going to be the season that you guys are expecting it to be. On that note,
that was harsh. That was harsh.
I know.
Let's go over to Edmonton.
Let's go to the guys up north.
FC Edmonton.
Okay, so just to put it out there, I feel like I'm nerding out today.
You kind of did, but you know what? Like it's weird to not have to talk so much sometimes.
The guys of the north have the most players signed right now on paper, and that's 20 players. 20 players. Like you think about that. That's from your front to your back. Like that's huge.
So some guys are gonna carry. I think it was up to 23-man roster.
Mm-hmm.
So they still have a couple little holes to, but they're pretty well there.
Like exactly. They're just
the
like
guys-
a hair away from.
Yeah, unless they
completing the
decide to
squad.
pull out some like unreal signing, which at this point I don't think so because they look like they're pretty well set, but again pretty balanced.
I don't think there's really anybody big that you need to sign in Edmonton. I think Edmonton FC has the players and have the right players in place as well. As you guys have probably heard in the past, but Edmonton's another team like Calgary where these guys have played together for a while. You know, I'm not saying the whole team, but there are pieces that they have kept, pieces of this puzzle that they've kept for one reason only, because you know how they're going to play. You know, and it just works.
Yeah, and then picking up Song Young Chan, who they saw him. He was at open trials out east, if I'm not mistaken. But Paula said he was one of the fittest players he's ever seen, and this guy's going to round out your midfield. So he's going to be like the Conte of, like Chelsea's Conte of the CPL. I could see him being that, like workhorse. He's everywhere.
But that's what you need, and I think every team needs that. But Edmonton did pick up a great player for that.
Yeah, and I mean, really, there are 3 players that they're saying to watch. The CPL is saying their top 3: Randy Edwini Bonzu, Alan Zebi, and then Son Young Chan. So
We're missing one more. Kareem Moses. Kareem Moses, he's going to help round out that back end as well. If you guys don't know who Kareem Moses is, do a little bit of research on him. There's a lot of stuff out there. It's a guy I definitely want to hit up and talk to as well. Here's another one, okay? And I'm going to throw it out there because I have no choice. Well, I have a choice. But you geek out on your country, so I'm geek out on my country. If you guys don't know who...
gosh, there.
Woohoo! Prince Amanda, here we go. This guy representing East Africa, that's right, Tanzania, yes, that boy.
Has he done
Yes,
that?
man,
Oh.
he moved down here, Edmonton, which I don't understand how that's possible because if you've been to East Africa or anywhere in East Africa, it is hot. And then you come to Edmonton where it's like an Arctic tundra. But this kid, I think it was 13, 14, moved to Edmonton, joined at Edmonton FC and more or less just continued. He's only 17 years old right now. Only 17 years old right now. So yeah.
Yeah, somebody to watch definitely in the future. You know, and that's the guy. So you look at the way that the rosters are, and you've obviously looked at that roster. Do you think he's going to get a lot of minutes this year?
No.
You know where I think that they could is because of having the Canadian Championship games. And like, you know what I
Correct.
mean?
So he'd be
Like,
looking at a different level of play. But yes,
yeah,
beginning his
you know,
time up
maybe
there.
getting in 30, maybe, you know, like if they play a Canadian Championship game on the Wednesday, maybe the weekend before, he jumps in 30 minutes in the game, maybe. Because these guys have to get a certain amount of minutes if they're
Correct.
rostered.
Correct. But at the
Which is
same
an
time,
awesome rule that the CPL has.
I like it.
Good call, but there you got your one to watch. Harry's biased player to watch.
That is my bias player in
Do
Edmonton.
I have one? Each team, I don't know, maybe we'll have to go. This might be a specific episode for like who is our player to watch. But we know one of Harry's up in Edmonton. We know he won.
So yeah, take a peek at that. Keep an eye out for this kid. You know, I'm gonna backtrack on what I did say. Now I feel like a loser politician, but yes, he will get his minimum amount of minutes in. I don't think he's going to be playing a lot, but I think he'll get a lot more than he will be expected to play. And why I say that is because, and I'm not only saying this for Edmonton, I'm saying this for all teams in the CPL right now. You got to look at some of the age of these players, okay? Injuries are a big one, okay? You play in Canada, I get it, people play in the UK and they say it's cold. But you play in Canada where the weather changes every 10, 15 minutes. You have no idea.
No, that's just here. That's just in Alberta.
That's true. But that's another
It
reason why I'm
would've been
saying the
cold,
injuries
yes.
might be a big thing as
Oh
well,
yeah,
right?
no, 100%.
So,
No, yeah, that cold in England is cold, but that's, playing a -10, -13. That's a whole other different baby. Like,
and
that's a
not,
tough one.
and it's not like moist air. It's
dry
dry.
as like awful, but
Dry as awful.
that's what we said. Yes. Let's go over to the peg.
Valor. Okay, I will give one thing. Jeez, I'm sorry. I geeked out hard today. Rob Gale, putting his team together, like him and his boys putting their team together. I say, and yes, coming from a defender side of things, I think they have one of the best back ends there is in the league right now.
I'm gonna agree to disagree because I think somebody else does, but we're not at that yet, so I won't. I kind of already mentioned it a little bit earlier.
I already know who you got, and don't worry, I got a punchline for you later. But I think Rob Gale, not what I think, what I see, Rob Gale and his team have put together some great players, and they've put these pieces together, so I'm happy to see that right now. Yeah, you got Skylar Thomas. There's a big name.
Yeah, quality.
Okay, you got Garcia, right? So you got some good back end players, which I'm happy to see.
Mm-hmm. I would say my favorite player on that team, and a little biased, Ali Musi, Foothills FC.
Why do you steal that from me? You were just reading my notes, weren't you?
No, I didn't. Did you? Well, you can't talk about everything yourself, can you?
Okay.
You gotta share. But, well, I'll let you take it.
No, please go for it.
No, go.
You started Ali Musi, please finish Ali Musi.
I know a lot more about him than you do.
That's good to know.
But, yeah, Ali Musi came over from Winnipeg, played for Foothills FC, and had a pretty unreal couple years, scoring some major goals in along the way. But a quality midfielder, definitely attacking, super finesse on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But it all depends on. It really depends on who he plays against. I think sometimes where you see that he's that finesse player, so you put the body on him hard, he struggles a bit. So I don't know.
It hurt my feelings when the Cavs didn't sign him, because I'm not saying I spent a lot of time with this guy, but I've met this guy, seen this guy, and I've seen his work ethic. And I wish Cavs did sign him, but there's only so much you can wish for every other team that there is.
Well, it is in the because he was Winnipeg and played with was in Winnipeg in the past. They get the first right to the player.
Correct.
Over Cavalry. So I know that conversation was there. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that conversation was there with Cavalry, but sometimes you just want to play at home, even if it is Winnipeg.
Yeah.
So even though we take shots at Winnipeg, and it's not to be rude, but everybody in Canada knows, and Winnipeg is just cold. They're there. They get the kind of the brunt end of the stick when it comes to the cold, and
they're the definition of like penguins and like.
Yeah, there's igloos in Winnipeg, so if you're gonna go watch a game there, like that's how cold it gets there. It stays cold. We get Chinooks here, so
yeah.
We get some warm every once in a while.
That's the thing, is like when we start getting when they get into the fall games, like.
That's gonna be tough. Good luck.
The players on the field are gonna be looking up in the stands and be like, they got blankets.
Let's hurry up and sort out those broadcasting rights, because those are games that I'll be watching on TV.
Yeah.
But anything to add on Ali Musi?
I don't know, man. I'm good on that. I'm kind of good on that right now.
So players to watch that they were calling Stephen Hoyle, Ali Musi, and Skylar Thomas from Valor FC. Like Harry pointed out, another pretty well-rounded team. He thinks defensively the strongest.
Okay, one last midfielder. Hoyle.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was a great piece when they picked him up. And I think that was a great player. They're just, I don't know. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but definitely a player to watch out for as well.
So overall, another good squad.
Forge. Want to jump in Forge, or are we not done?
Yeah, no, Forge is let's go Forge.
Okay, Forge. This is my thoughts on Forge. Okay. When I say experienced players, I'm not trying to call you old, but I'm trying to be nice about it.
He just called you old.
Forge does have some of the most seasoned players there are. out there.
nice word association. Choose the word.
But Forge FC does have some of the most seasoned players there are when you look at it. A lot of MLS setups. A lot of guys either played for the MLS Second League. But those are guys that have played with bigger players. And yes, I dislike the MLS. But at the same time, when you're looking at the Second League, I think the Second League is way better than the First League.
It's a different. The pace is nicer. There's more flow to the game
Yeah.
than MLS is in the USL. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, Forge does have some of the oldest players, like, if you look at it.
Yeah. 16 players they have signed. Looking decent how they sit right now, but maybe lacking a little bit on the front end. Not looking like they have much for goal scorers.
No.
He's got a lot of players that are coming right from Ontario.
Mm-hmm. Well, look at Colleen Roberts. Played for Toronto FC, Second Div. Kyle Becker. It's another big name.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you think about it and what these players and what this team has signed, you're just like, it's unbelievable at moments.
Yeah, and their goalie looks to be pretty decent as well.
So, Marcel Zajac.
Yeah. So, top three according to the CPL that they think should watch: Krisnenko, Kwamewa, and Becker. But yeah,
I was right for once. I put a name in there.
lacking a little bit on that front. But again,
But there's
we could be completely wrong because we don't really know what the hell's going on.
We don't. Right now we're in speculation. We're in speculation mode. We see what we see. The information that we collect, that's what we're going off of. But I'm always right, so just remember that.
Of course, he thinks he's always right.
Let's move over to York 9. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, guys, we only got a couple more teams here.
And we got like 6 other topics to talk about, so this may be a little bit long, but we felt like you guys need to know more about these guys. So if you don't like it, shut up.
Yeah. York 9. Okay, so York 9. We've talked about international players, different teams that have signed different amounts of international players. As I'm going back on my notes here, there's only 29 international players signed. York 9 only has 2 international players signed.
Yeah, but they're a team that I would say I would know the least about when it comes to their players. I'm not overly familiar with a lot of these guys. Harry's done a little bit of research on them.
I have done, but going back and answering that, you haven't done a lot of research on these guys. A lot of these guys actually do come from Ontario. A lot of the York 9 district. Another reason why they're the York 9s, or York 9. But a lot of their signings, a lot of their signings have come from homegrown players.
Yeah.
Another reason why you're only seeing 2 international players here. One thing that does worry me straight off the bat, and of course going off the defensive side of stuff here, they only have one goal. They only have one keeper right now, Matt Silva. It kind of freaks me out. Matt Silva does not have a big resume. Does he have a resume down in Ontario? Yeah, he does.
Yeah. You don't really know which way he's going to go. I would say probably the most notable. I don't know if you're going to throw it out. I'm stealing your thunder again.
Do it.
Kyle Porter.
Do it.
Kyle Porter would be one of the more notable ones. Roger Thompson. But, lacking a couple spots. Simon Adji, is he going to be able to go and score goals? Hard to say.
But the cool thing, if you look at this, okay, going back to it, is York 9 has the second most players signed. 18 players signed right now. And 2 of those guys are only internationals. They got a lot to prove. They got a lot to show. I'm not saying... No, internationals do add that balance of the finesse you need to play this sport. Mm-hmm. But some of these guys with their backgrounds, do have a little bit of international, or of course have played with several different clubs.
Yeah.
So bringing that experience in is gonna be crazy.
Yeah, like Manoel Aparicio, he's played overseas, and then so decent midfield, but again, up for stipulation. They're one of the ones that are going to be the. I don't know where they're going to sit. So that one's for me is more of the the unknown. I would say for me is York 9.
But do you agree with me if I throw out this? I'm going to say they need to sign a couple more international players just to round out the team they have right now.
And watch, they're going to pull out a big signing out of. They're going to pull some massive name, or not massive, but a big name striker. Because that's what they're kind of lacking. They need a couple pieces. They don't have a lot of international signings. Doesn't look like they've spent a huge amount of money.
No.
So maybe now it's that
There's some cash flow coming through.
Paid. Yeah.
You know, before we get to the Wanderers, I got one question to ask you, okay?
Oh. Always worried about these.
Who do you think is going to... What team in the CPL do you believe will have the hardest time staying under budget as we sit right now?
Pacific FC. They went heavy front loaded. I think they're going to have trouble staying balanced. De Jong must have been a big price tag coming out of
De Jong had to be a big price tag.
And then all these other guys, they signed some good talent. Guys, Haber, he's worth some money too. I think they probably between 6 players got at least.
What about Forge? You're not going to throw Forge up there?
I don't know. I think they're up there, but I think Pacific is a heavy. I think Pacific would be the heaviest push.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I wish that there was more money for the CPL to push up, but being the first season, there's not a lot of coin, but there are going to be teams that are going to be struggling to stay underneath that cap.
And that's where, so these coaches, and it's not to take anything away from them, but these coaches, you see a couple teams that are more balanced. And, is it an experience thing? What's going to be this? Pacific goes out, and they're heavy loaded, and they're at max cap. They go and win the league. Oh, they're laughing. Who cares, right? It's work. But if you don't, then are you revisiting? And that's the thing. It's and it's maybe a little early to start bringing this up already. But all these GMs and all these head coaches that are coming into place, at what point in time are they going to be the clubs start thinking you know what? Maybe it's time to move a new direction. You know what I mean? That's super. Obviously, the league hasn't even started already talking about replacing the managers, but
it's going to happen.
It's bound to happen.
You need to realize, not you, but everybody out there needs to realize that this is the first season. Okay, this is the season you go out and you. I don't know if I can just. You're going to go out there. You're going to bust your nut. Is that horrible? Can I change it? Should I change it?
No, it's just.
But you go out there and you bust, okay? And then you realize the next season, okay, there's things that need to change. And that comes from players. That comes from management.
Yeah. And you just hope that everything works out. And if it doesn't, then again in the next, And
it's tough to do because but it's hard for me to say this, but us as Canadians, as nice as we are, and with this sport actually starting to blow up in Canada and going to be blowing up properly, there will be a lot of hatred for what I just said and what you're agreeing upon is we will see teams get blown apart, either players or management.
Yeah, because in the same right, it could happen, it could not happen, but there's every possible reason that it could happen. Everything's starting from scratch. Somebody could go out and put a team together, and all of a sudden this team is not doing what it should. And that's why maybe you see the coaches are grabbing players that are more familiar with, like a lot of the Cavalry guys that even though may not be so familiar with locally, Tommy hasn't coached them, Martin has. And the same thing in all the other teams. So everybody's got that balance. I don't know him as well. You know him well. We have that understanding. So I think, I don't think you'll see as the unlikely, or it's highly unlikely that you'll see a blow up. But yeah, there's every reason that it could just dismantle. Pacific puts this massive team together, and all of a sudden things may not work out for them, and then what happens?
Don't hit on Pacific.
I just got to hit them because I think they're going to put up 80 goals. They're just going to score and score and score goals.
Oh, that's why I'm coming back to Village.
Yeah.
you best be on your game.
You're going to get worked.
Okay, let's go back to the Wanderers. Let's get off
Yeah.
this topic because we can go for hours on this.
Yeah.
Wanderers.
Just on this alone.
Yeah, this is the last team, okay, on this list of 7. There could have been 8 once again, but we're at 7 because of Ottawa, but let's not go back to that. The Wanderers.
17 signed.
Yeah, 17 signed, 10 Canadians, 7 internationals.
Most internationals?
7
Is
internationals.
it the most out of in the CPL? I think they were.
I think it actually is. I think it is actually one of the teams with the most internationals there
FC
are.
Edmonton has 7 as well. So,
Okay.
yeah, tight.
But at FC Edmonton or Edmonton FC still has more Canadian players and a couple more players to make it 20, where these guys are only sitting at 17.
Yeah.
So they're almost on par for Canadians and internationals at the moment.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
yeah,
Um,
they got a huge backfield.
Trinidad. They went hard after the Trinidadians, but familiar with the coaching staff. Stephen Hart is quite familiar with a lot of those players. I don't know. I think they're going to be pretty tough in the back. They got some big boys. Like
This is what I love.
Halifax, and their boys are just like
They're stocky.
yeah.
They still make me look big, but
That's our own fault though.
but no, I'm loving the Wanderers backfielder now. Like that is huge. Like John Michael, Oxner, Elton John. I love that name. by the
It'd be
way.
funny when Elton John plays against Emilio Estevez.
Oh, Emilio.
But yeah, I would, and this is my team. I would say this is going to be the defensive team, lacking a little bit up front. I would say not quite there. It's like decent midfielder, but you still need that striker and that goal scorer, and they don't look too
Agreed.
linked up with that. So if they don't have that guy who's going to put the ball in the net, you can defend all you want, but you're going to be stuck in your end.
I agree, but I look at all the teams. I look at the lineups. Don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on any of these lineups, but when I look at every 7 team right now, I think this is the most rounded team you are going to find between all 7 teams as it sits right now.
Agree to disagree.
Elliott, Scott Firth, like you got some good midfielders, and
Tara, Kota, Lida.
I'm not saying that's the best team on paper. I'm saying I think it's one of the most well-rounded teams as it sits. Yes, there's a couple spots to fill.
Yeah, some young guys on there as well, so that's another thing you kind of like. I think they're well rounded, but I don't think I think there's a bigger gap between their more experienced and then their younger guys. I think there's a bit of a gap, and that's why I think like defensively they're going to be strong, and it's going to make them well rounded because it's going to be hard to score against them. But at the same time, their goals for lowest goals for in the league. Who would you say?
Lowest goals for?
Lowest goals against. Sorry.
Okay, I was like,
lowest goals against.
hold
That's
on
the
a
next
second.
question. That's the next. Lowest goals
Lowest
against.
goals against. Definitely not Pacific. I'm sorry. Edmonton.
I'm gonna say Halifax.
That was going to be my first, but I didn't want to change it after.
Okay, so we'll base this off of the end of the season. And
Yeah.
then, Ghost Pepper. No, that's too much.
That
We
is-
can handle that. Like we're colored, but we can handle spice that much.
No.
Okay, some sort of hot pepper.
Done.
Most goals for
Pacific.
Pacific, so we won't win on that one because we're tied. Because I agree with you. It had nothing to do with.
Maybe we should just like chug beer and see who drinks
So if
it.
we both win on that one, then we chug beers and see.
Yeah, and then
chug
whoever
beers.
loses chugging their beer has to eat something
Oh,
hot.
you're in trouble.
Yes!
You're in trouble.
Yes!
You're
Put the toilet paper in the freezer for me! No.
If you don't understand that reference, don't ask. Because Google it. You'll know.
I think one player that you need, everybody needs to pay attention to on the Wanderers is Kwame.
Kwame Tara, yeah, big boy.
Like,
Was he? When they say he's the best player in the trials, I think it was.
I believe he was. And I'm not going off of that. I'm going off his resume. I'm going off what I've seen, and you can watch videos online everywhere. And there's one thing you will see. You will see a powerhouse out there.
Yeah, it'll be good. And that's the thing is, you're seeing based on the players and doing the research on the individual players and the styles they play. You compare that to, and this is going back to us talking trash about MLS and the quality over there, but MLS big, strong, fast. You look at the players that are in those places that you need to be big, strong, fast, center backs. You know, well, not fast.
No,
Center backs aren't known for being quick.
Smart,
But smart, big. But I don't know. You get a big dumb center back. Sometimes they work really well too. Smash.
That was ugly.
But you say like you. Yeah. Hey, but it worked, didn't it?
Butterflies. Harry, paint.
Woo, ball. Just smash somebody. I think that's why you went to play football, like the other football, didn't it?
Yeah,
That's
that's
easier.
pretty much exactly why.
Yeah, good balance. You're gonna see a little bit more. I just think the quality you're looking the flow of the games is gonna be a lot better than the MLS. I watched a couple of the games this weekend and kind of tried to watch a couple of the games in the kickoff inaugural game, first game of the season. So maybe guys gotta find their feet still. But oh my god, like awful stuff at times.
And can I have one more question for you? In no way that I'm trying to cause any issues here, but
Yes, it is.
what team do you believe is going to be the most accident-prone team for injuries? Sorry.
That was impressive.
Yeah, that was.
Forge.
Why do you say that?
I don't know. Just for the sake of saying it. Who do you think?
I don't know. That's why I asked the question.
I don't know. Wait, who's got the oldest guys on the team?
Forge.
I think it's Forge. Whoever has, is it? Okay.
Don't mind the shine. The lights get bright after a while. Okay. Here, let me look here. Where's that one I highlighted? Oh wait, Forge. Maybe the oldest squad in the league.
That's a good guess. I mean, I knew what I was talking about the whole time. No, I didn't. I had no clue.
But yeah, do we have anything else to add on this? Like,
As far as the teams and the players go, no. We have like a billion other things we could talk about, and this is the reason why. I mean, I don't
schedule's released for everybody now, right?
Yeah.
Can we do a prediction board? I know this is a lot more work and I'm just throwing it out there, but do you think we can sit down and do a prediction board? So we're going to be trying to do episodes every 2 weeks, so at least we got our facts straight. We got all the information that we need. Of course, when the season starts, you're going to be seeing us a lot more again. But what do you think for the next episode? Do you think we can do a prediction board?
Game like each game?
Yeah. I'm not saying points, I'm
Yeah.
just saying win-lose.
Yeah. Let's do it. So starting from the inaugural game, which is the
April 27th, Forge versus York 9. And if you don't already know what this is, it's the 905 Derby.
and
Oh, your mic's gonna pick that up.
yeah, just right where the mic is.
I think he was holding the tune.
Yeah, the 905 905 Now we can't even tell lost.
Sorry.
The 905 Derby. For those unfamiliar, 905 is a highway, freeway going up. Kind of that whole GTA area. So, like we talked about earlier, Tim Hortons Field looks to be packed, hopefully.
Yeah.
And if everything works out to plan,
Correct.
Harry and myself will be at this game. We want to take in the fans. We want to see what's going on, the culture, start to show what we're about, that fan experience, because that's what is gonna.
Correct.
That's the league. It's about us. It's about the people. So, 27th will be that one, and then the 28th is the kickoff for the second game, which will be Pacific and the Wanderers,
Correct.
and that game is in Pacific.
I don't think we're gonna make it to that one, are we?
No, because that's a bit of a
Like,
hike
that's
to go
a-
overnight. 4,476 kilometers in distance. It is the third longest trip in the sport worldwide.
Jeez.
Russia, I can't remember where they were, where the other two were up top, to be honest. But everything else, May 4th, you got Halifax Wanderers are playing their first home game then. FC Edmonton will open up against Pacific on May 12th. 25th, York 9 versus Forge FC, and that'll be in York. So finally, York starting a little later at home, but maybe to make sure that stadium's settled.
Yeah, but one thing you'd realize about the East Coast is your population is large compared to us down in the West, or even Central coming to the West.
Yeah.
So when they actually hit their home game, it's going to be insane. And by then, they might have 1 or 2 wins under their belt, or possibly none. But
Yeah, exactly.
But they definitely have a bigger population. So to fill their stands after doing the Central and West, it just makes sense.
Yeah. July 1 will be the when they will crown the spring champion. And that'll be 35 games total.
So each team plays 35 games
Yeah.
in the CPL.
Total, yeah. So there'll be 35 games total played in the first half.
In the first half.
Games.
Oh, and we'll break that down for them, right?
Yeah, we'll get into those a little
We'll
bit
explain
more.
that too.
We got a bit of how this league works because the split. A lot of people aren't too familiar with it. In Chile, they do a similar Apertura Clausura, how they do in some places in South America, and they split the league in two: first half winner, second half, blah blah. And then October 19th will be when the second round. The second half team will be set, and then they will push on into playing the final matches.
And then big rivalry dates coming up here for
Yeah, some big ones.
El Clasico.
The El Clasico.
And if you haven't checked out any El Clasico from last year, check it out. It is on our site. We have it all. We have the content.
Oh, yeah, we did a couple videos from game 1 and 2 of the Prospects game. So if you want to see you get a glimpse into what Clark Stadium was like, and then to what Spruce Meadows was like. You get a glimpse because the stadiums are nowhere near finished or prepared. It was just kind of like, let's go gauge the interest. Let's go do something. So, but Saturday, May 18th at Spruce Meadows.
I was like, how did we just reverse time?
And then June 16th at Clark Stadium. So they'll play each other 5 times total. And then the other big derby, I'll leave this one for you.
9:05. This is gonna be crazy. Jeez, like, okay, I'm getting off topic here, but do you think what's gonna be the bigger rivalry? Do you think it's gonna be 9:05, or do you think it's gonna be the El Clasico?
I think right off the bat, and solely because there's already that bad blood, if you will, in Alberta between the Flames and the Oilers, and there's always been that rivalry. Whereas, what rivalry do York and Hamilton really have? So I think right off the bat, population-wise, they're way bigger, but I think the rivalry and the back and forth will be a lot more between Cavalry and Edmonton. But you never know. Like, you could go to York and lighting flares and setting cars on fire and having, doing it how the South Americans and the Europeans do it. But
I just hope when we go down to the east, when you hit the concourse, you get food. I don't know why, but I hope they have patties. I hope they sell patties. I want making patties. Sorry.
He just wants to go for the food. I want patties. No, you just said that. But their first game would be obviously the inaugural at Tim Hortons Field. Game 2 of their rivalry would be May 25th on a Saturday, and that will be in York University.
York University.
Canadian Championship games, May 15th, 22nd. There's quite a bit there. The CONCACAF League games as well. We keep going on for hours and hours and hours, but the value of the importance of the games, because there's only 3 that qualify onto the CONCACAF League qualifiers: Valor, FC Edmonton, and Forge FC, because they were the inaugural. Supposedly, it's because of the dates. When the teams were registered as official teams, they were the first ones, and when they put in, supposedly that's when they were right at cutoff, so that's why no other CPL teams could join at this point. That's what I'd heard. Whether it's right or wrong, correctly, put it in the comments if you know the true right answer.
Yeah. And if you're in the league and you're watching this, put the answers down.
Yeah, please help us out. But
oh yeah, thanks for the scarf again.
Gold Cup and FIFA Women's World Cup is also massive this year. Why didn't we touch on the MLS? Because we don't care. League format for the 2019. You got one more thing?
Maybe not. No, you know what? I'm going to leave that for the next episode because I just keep going. I'm just not stopping. Just not stopping. Do we need to change that real quick, or are we good?
This is the right page.
No. That?
Oh, no, we're okay.
Okay.
Oh,
It's flashing.
okay. Let's run through this quick. We're okay.
All right, CPL League format. Okay, I suck at this. I cannot explain this to save my life, even though it's the easiest thing there is. It's like putting ketchup on a hot dog. I don't know how to do that.
He ends up with it all over his fingers and bites himself all the time. So we just do it for him now. Spring competition, like we said, April 27th to July 1st. July 1st, the final match. Teams with most points at the end of the spring competition earn CPL berth into the final game, which is played later on in the year.
So that means top 3 teams from the spring side move automatically to the finals?
No. Just one. It's a 1-1. That's it. So you have your champion, most points in the spring competition, and then you have your most points in the fall competition, and they meet at the end of the year in a final.
Then they play.
E.T. call home.
Okay.
Fall competition, July 6th to October 19th. Teams with most points at the end of the season go on to play.
Maybe when we do our board, we can split up between spring and then fall.
Yeah. Maybe just do the spring right away. 14 home games, 14 away games total throughout the season. But yeah, that's the format. A little bit tricky, but split down into 2, winner of each. Move on. That's simple. You get it?
I got it, don't worry. Like putting ketchup on a hot dog.
Canada and French Guiana men's play on March 23rd. Canada with a win and they need a good result will qualify for the Gold Cup. And then, I mean, that's big for the men. So we need that to get to the Gold Cup to be able to do something to show that we're back.
Yeah,
So
seriously.
I think we're there.
Canadian women's.
Yeah. So
How crazy is this?
Yeah, so Garvey Cup playing in the bronze medal or third place game Wednesday. You may have this out before or after that game, so not too sure on the result of that. But Sinclair 179th goal, and this is kind of a preparation for the
Women's World Cup.
Women's World Cup later on this year. So again, keep your eyes open for that. France Women's World
And the
Cup.
nice thing about, and I don't want to keep backtracking here, but yes, as you said, you know, Canadian side, men's side, you're like, we're back. Where the women's side has always been consistent. So I'm happy to see that, and I hope that they're going to keep pushing forward.
Yeah, and we'd hope to see them, you know, come out positive. Top 3 in the World Cup is always the hope and what we want to see. And it looks like we got some good pieces in place. Just need to tighten everything up and then make that push.
You like balls? Because they just released
This
the
is
balls.
Got some nice balls.
Yeah.
I actually kind of like it. Some people are kind of not really full on.
Sorry, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, CPL just released their game balls.
CPL's got Nike balls. And the ref gear, if I'm not mistaken, is also going to be Nike. So the official partners of the CPL, Nike doing some stuff. So
Just do it.
there will be the preseason tour in Dominican Republic.
Woo! If you guys haven't read that, heard about it, preseason Dominican. Are you gonna make it? I hope you make it. I'm definitely not gonna make it.
There's a chance that one of us could be going on that trip. I don't. Yeah, no, just to kick off maybe a couple preseason games out there against each other. I don't know too much, but they'll probably play some Dominican teams or who knows what else will come in. But a good way to get off and kick the league off and say, look, this is our culture, this is what we're going to do. Are you guys all ready to go? Let's roll. Because this is us. It's about, let's roll. So, great start. Great sign in Nike, Macron, Media Pro. What's left?
Honestly, I don't think there's a lot. We're almost beating a dead horse if we continue.
Yeah, the only thing that we can wait for now is season to kick off. So, thanks once again for tuning in. We'll leave you on that note. And once again, my man,
Terry.
and I'm Simon. Thanks.